Welcome to this explainer. Today we're setting the stage for an absolutely incredible biographical journey. We're going to trace the life of a uniquely beloved leader, brilliant scientist, and dedicated teacher. We are looking at the life of Abul Jainul-Abdin Abdul Kalam, a man who not only helped secure a nation's technological independence, but literally captured the hearts of over 1 billion people. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into this. This powerful quote right here. This served as the foundational philosophy for Kalam's entire life. He firmly believed that great achievements have to begin with great dreams, and as you'll see today, he wasn't just speaking in empty platitudes. This was the exact formula he used to transform his own reality, moving from quiet aspirations into monumental, history-shifting action.
Because honestly, that is the ultimate question when you look at his life. The central narrative arc of A.P.J. Abdul Kalam is defined by a massive, almost unbelievable contrast. How do you go from a childhood defined by sheer financial survival, isolated on an island in the early 20th century, to becoming the president and the guiding visionary of the world's largest democracy?
Section 1. A Humble Island Beginning. The Dreamer.
Kalam was born into profound struggle in 1931 on Pamban Island in Tamil Nadu. After his family's ferry business completely collapsed, plunging them into severe poverty, the young boy actually distributed newspapers just to help his family survive. But he was a fiercely dedicated student. He had this deep, unquenchable curiosity, and he'd spend hours studying mathematics. That fierce dedication drove him to graduate with a degree in physics in 1954, and then to push even further, moving to Madras in 1955 to study aerospace engineering.
But here is a fascinating sliding doors moment. Kalam's ultimate dream was to fly. He wanted to be a fighter pilot. So he took the qualifiers for the Indian Air Force, and out of all the applicants, he placed 9th. The catch? The Air Force only had 8 available positions. He missed his dream by a single spot. I mean, it must have felt like a crushing defeat at the time, right? But this perceived failure actually set him on his true path toward changing history.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 2. The Missile Man. Building National Self-Reliance.
Redirected from flying planes, Kalam focused entirely on building the technology that would soar into the skies and beyond. His scientific career at the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, is marked by massive, game-changing milestones. In 1969, he became the project director for India's first satellite launch vehicle. By 1980, his team successfully deployed the Rohini satellite into orbit. Decades later, in 1998, he served as the chief project coordinator for the Pokhran II nuclear tests. And you know, these engineering triumphs weren't just about testing rockets. They were deeply strategic. Kalam was literally helping to secure India's technological independence and establish its strategic capabilities on the global stage. A massive chunk of that independence came from the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. The government took a really unique approach here. They decided to develop a whole quiver of missiles simultaneously, rather than one by one, and they appointed Kalam as its chief executive. Under his directorship, India developed the Agni and Prithvi missiles, spearheading indigenous defense technology. It was his tireless leadership on this very program that directly earned him the legendary title he carries to this day, the Missile Man of India.
Section 3. The People's President. The Unifier.
By the early 2000s, Kalam was a bona fide national scientific hero. But in 2002, he was unexpectedly propelled toward the highest political office, with backing from both the ruling party and the opposition. And the result? It was staggering. 922,884. That is the overwhelming number of electoral votes he won during the presidential election against Lakshmi Sahgal. This massive landslide perfectly illustrated his universal, cross-party appeal among the Indian populace.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer contrast. On one hand, Kalam had just assumed the highest office, becoming the commander of a nation of over 1 billion people. On the other hand, he maintained a profoundly simple life. His personal possessions at the end of his life famously amounted to little more than a veena, which is a traditional stringed instrument, a few books, a CD player, some clothes, and a laptop. That's it. He was a strict vegetarian and a teetotaler, a man who required almost nothing material despite having access to literally everything.
Which brings us to his most famous informal title, the People's President. You see, this moniker wasn't some calculated political slogan. It was born out of genuine public love. He was the first scientist and the first bachelor to ever occupy Rashtrapati Bhavan, the presidential palace. But instead of hiding behind the pomp and rigid protocol of the office, he completely rejected it. He prioritized unprecedented accessibility, building a deep, warm rapport with everyday citizens.
Section 4.
a unifier of faiths, blending traditions.
Kalam didn't just represent the technological future of India, he totally embodied its diverse cultural soul. He lived a beautifully syncretic life. He was a devout Sunni Muslim, adhering to daily namaz and fasting during Ramadan. Yet, he also learned Sanskrit and read the Hindu epic, the Bhagavad Gita. He played Carnatic devotional music on his veena every single day. This worldview was planted early in his childhood. He fondly recalled watching his father, an imam, sit and drink tea with the head priest of the local Hindu temple and a Christian priest, just discussing community issues. That early exposure cemented his lifelong belief that religion should be a way of making friends, not a tool for fighting.
This dedication to interfaith respect culminated in a beautiful 14-year spiritual friendship. Kalam actually considered Pramukh Swami Maharaj, the Hindu guru of the BAPS denomination, to be his ultimate spiritual teacher. Kalam famously stated that the Swami placed him in a God-synchronous orbit. How great is that? It's a brilliant aerospace metaphor for finding absolute spiritual peace. Kalam even documented this profound friendship in his book titled Transcendence.
Section 5. Igniting Young Minds, the Teacher and Legacy.
So after leaving office in 2007, Kalam didn't just retire to a quiet life. Instead, he returned to his foundational passion, teaching. Look at this number, 100,000. That was the specific target Kalam set for himself for the number of high school students he wanted to personally interact with. He wanted to look them in the eye, share his experiences, and ignite their imaginations. He firmly believed that the latent fire in the heart of a student was the single greatest resource on earth.
So the crucial point is how he channeled that fire. In his influential book, India 2020, he laid out a highly logical 5-pillar roadmap to transform the country into a developed knowledge superpower. It wasn't just about building rockets. It was a holistic approach covering agriculture, education, information technology, infrastructure, and self-reliance in critical technologies. He basically gave the youth a blueprint, showing them exactly where their hard work needed to go to build the future.
Kalam's dedication to teaching lasted literally until his final breath. On July 27, 2015, he was doing exactly what he loved most, preparing to deliver a lecture to students, this time at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong. Just moments before he collapsed from a fatal cardiac arrest, his purported last words were directed to his aide, Suijan Pal Singh, asking with his trademark warmth, "Funny guy, are you doing well?" He left us with endless wisdom, perhaps best summarized by his quote, "Let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have a better tomorrow." A.P.J. Abdul Kalam showed us that a newspaper boy really can touch the stars, that failure is just the first attempt in learning, and that true power lies in humility and knowledge. The provocative thought I want to leave you with today is this: knowing what one man accomplished with such humble beginnings, how will you apply Kalam's dedication, his boundless curiosity, and his big dreams to build a better future in your own life? Take that question with you. Keep learning and keep dreaming.